Let's jump right into this explainer, because today we're crossing a bridge that spans over 5,000 years. We're going to take the ultimate scientific quest, Albert Einstein's lifelong hunt for the unified field, and stack it right up against the ultimate spiritual quest mapped out in the ancient Bhagavad Gita. And what we're going to uncover is absolutely mind-blowing. These two totally different worlds, they're actually looking at the exact same cosmic web. By the time we wrap up, you won't just have a deeper grasp of how the universe is wired, you're going to walk away with a highly practical toolkit for finding peace, clarity, and real excellence in a world that, let's be honest, is full of chaos and struggle.
We've got a lot of fascinating ground to cover. Our roadmap looks like this. First, 2 windows, 1 reality. Next, the cosmic tree. Then we'll hit matter, consciousness, and unity, followed by the movie screen metaphor. After that, we'll tackle the illusion of separation, and finally, finding peace in action.
Section 1. 2 windows, 1 reality. For our entire lives, we've basically been told that science and spirituality are sitting on opposite sides of the room, right? One is all about microscopes, particle accelerators, and hard math, while the other is about meditation, intuition, and inner revelation. But here is a really provocative thought. What if the hard empirical truths of modern physics and the incredibly profound insights of ancient wisdom are just 2 different methodologies aimed at the exact same fundamental reality? What if they're literally just speaking 2 different languages to describe the same universe?
It's actually kind of eerie how perfectly the vocabulary maps across these 2 domains. I mean, think about it. In modern quantum field theory, physicists talk about this dynamic web of relations and quantum entanglement, where particles are deeply connected regardless of distance. Now flip over to ancient Sanskrit texts like chapter 13 of the Gita. We see this very clear distinction between the field of the observable world and the knower of the field, or kshetrajna. The ancients completely anticipated this exact duality we now see in quantum physics, recognizing that the observer and the observed are intimately, inseparably connected.
You know, Albert Einstein spent the later decades of his life obsessed with finding a unified field theory. Through E=mc², he had already proven something radical, that energy and solid matter are just interconvertible forms of the exact same thing. He instinctively felt the pull of this beautiful mystery. He realized that at the most foundational level of reality, there is no solid stuff, there are only dynamic, interacting patterns of energy. In a way, he was using math to search for exactly what the ancient sages called Brahman.
Okay, moving on to section 2, the cosmic tree.
If we look at chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, and we see this echoed in the Katha-panishad too, the entire universe is described using the metaphor of a massive cosmic tree. This tree represents samsara, which is the dynamic, completely unpredictable, ever-changing sea of worldly life. But here's the catch. It's an upside-down tree. Its roots are up above, grounded in the unmanifest, supreme unified reality, Brahman. And its branches grow downward, forming the complex material world we experience every single day. The point is, it's one inseparable, living, breathing entity.
And this metaphor brilliantly illustrates how modern science is finally catching up to ancient thought. The physicist Frigio of Capra pointed out that the dynamic, shifting nature of matter in quantum theory is practically a mirror image of the Upanishads. Both sides agree that you can't understand the universe as some static, clunky machine. It's a vibrating, dancing web of relations. You can only understand subatomic particles by looking at how they move and interact with everything else, exactly like the intertwined, ever-growing branches of that cosmic tree.
Section 3. Matter, Consciousness, and Unity.
Chapter 15 of the Gita breaks down this massive cosmic reality into 3 really intuitive layers. First up is ksara, the perishable. This is the stuff that degrades, the ever-changing material world, your physical body, the literal physical universe. Then you have aksara, the imperishable. This is the pure observing consciousness, that silent witness or knower inside you that never ages. And finally, encompassing both of those is Purushottama. That is the supreme entity. It's the ultimate unified field that contains both the perishable matter and the imperishable consciousness.
Now, when Brahman, which is that ultimate pure consciousness, is combined with its dynamic, creative, illusion-making power known as Maya, they come together to form what's known as Ishvara, the Lord of creation. This concept is the traditional anchor for understanding cosmic unity. It basically tells us that the tangible physical world and the invisible consciousness that perceives it aren't 2 separate things. They are fundamentally tied together right at the source.
To make this even more concrete, the Gita uses this fantastic metaphor of a blacksmith's anvil, known as kutastam.
Picture a heavy iron anvil in a workshop. A blacksmith places glowing metal on it and hammers it into completely different shapes. One day it's a sword, the next it's a horseshoe, then a farming tool. The metal is constantly changing form, going through chaos, but the anvil itself, it never changes shape. It just sits there, providing the steady, silent foundation for all that change to happen. Your pure consciousness is that changeless anvil, and the chaotic, perishable world is the metal changing shape upon it.
Section 4. The movie screen metaphor. Let's bring this right down to your everyday life. Think of your true self as a movie screen. When you go to the theater, you watch a movie packed with chaotic events, right? Massive explosions, heartbreaking tragedies, intense triumphs. That movie is your daily life. Your stress, your career, your anxieties, your physical ups and downs. But here's the secret. No matter how violent or fiery the movie projected onto it gets, the screen itself never catches fire. It's never burned, never damaged, never altered. Your true I, your pure consciousness, is that screen. It is completely 100% unaffected by the drama playing out on it.
Which brings us to Section 5, the illusion of separation. And again, we aren't just talking about abstract mysticism here. This is grounded in physics. Erwin Schrödinger, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist famous for his quantum wave equation, studied Vedantic philosophy incredibly deeply, and he came to the exact same conclusion as the ancient sages. Individuality is purely a mental construct. Just like he said, the multiplicity of the universe is only apparent. When you drill down to the most fundamental quantum level, the boundaries between what is you and what is the rest of the universe literally disappear.
The ancients had a brilliant way of explaining this using the metaphor of pot space versus total space. Imagine an ordinary clay pot. It temporarily encloses a little pocket of space inside it. We call that pot space. But is that space actually any different from the total space in the room around it? Of course not. And if you smash that pot on the ground, the space doesn't spill out. It was always just the total infinite space. Your physical body is exactly like that pot. We draw a mental boundary around our skin and say, okay, this is me. But our underlying consciousness is just a continuous, unbroken part of the entire cosmos.
Section 6, Finding Peace in Action.
So what do we do with all this? The Gita gives us what is essentially the ultimate life hack for our daily struggles, karma yoga. If we are all truly expressions of the same unified whole, it means you can act in the world without desperately clinging to the results. You can stop claiming ownership of every success and failure. You start to view every situation, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as custom-made lessons for your own spiritual growth. And you begin to treat everyone with a radical compassion, because if the unified field is real, hurting someone else is literally like biting your own tongue.
Here is how you actually put this into practice today. First, strive for samabhuti, which is maintaining a sense of inner balance in both pain and pleasure. Be the anvil. Next, and this is big, forgive yourself. Realize that your biological system was designed by millions of years of evolution to survive, not to be spiritually free. We all have evolutionary baggage like fear, anxiety, and anger. To manage that baggage, you absolutely need baseline habits. Get good sleep, eat well, move your body, and mentally, whenever you hit a wall, train your brain to stop and ask, okay, what lesson does this exact situation hold for me?
Look, starting a real spiritual practice doesn't mean you have to run off to a cave and abandon the modern world. It means showing up. Doing your duties for your family, your career, and your society, but doing them as an offering to the greater whole. Simply being aware of your own ego, keeping an eye on your desires and anxieties, and taking a moment each day to reflect on how interconnected we all are, that is the very first step toward living a genuinely peaceful and powerful life. You are literally training your mind to step back and become the screen.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on today. If modern physics and ancient wisdom are both absolutely right, if your mind, the stars billions of light years away, and the empty space in between are all just vibrating expressions of the exact same unified field, then who is it that's actually feeling stressed right now? The stress belongs to the movie, not to you. When you truly realize that you are the entire movie screen, the drama of the movie completely loses its power over you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this perspective brings some profound clarity and peace into your daily life.